Arlington National Cemetery is celebrating its birthday. The cemetery, dedicated to national heroes, was established 147 years ago today.
Joining us live to talk more about the history of this national treasure is Arlington National Cemetery historian Tom Sherlock. Tom, it wasn't always a cemetery. It apparently was a very famous person's front lawn at one time.
Yes, it was. It actually, before we became a cemetery 150 years ago, it was the home of the wife of General Robert Lee. And he lived here for 30 years, from 1831 until 1861, prior to the Civil War.
So was it put there on that land to punish Robert E. Lee?
Well, the land had been confiscated by the government in 1862 for failure to pay a federal tax. The Army had rights to the land. They had sold it back to themselves on public auction. And in 1864, when it became necessary to look for areas around the city of Washington, D.C. for a cemetery, it was a logical fit that the Army had this land. But certainly I think that the fact that the Commander-in-Chief of the Army of Northern Virginia lived here for 30 years certainly had something to do with it.
When you think of Arlington National Cemetery, we certainly think of John F. Kennedy being buried there, Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. There's so much more, though, isn't there?
Oh, there is. There's soldiers and veterans from every war America's ever fought, from the Revolutionary War through the current wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. So there's really 330,000 heroes here. And when you walk the area of Arlington and you read the names, you realize that there's heroes too that are just known to their loved ones and their families.
Well, Tom, are we running out of room there?
We're doing everything we can to stay open as long as possible. At the present rate of burial on the lands that we have, or will be acquiring in the near future, we have room for about 45 more years at the present time, so it's not an urgent need. But the Army is very, very careful in looking for ways of expanding and increasing our burial life to keep Arlington open for as long as ever.
Also, something remarkable, there are a lot of folks around here that are interested in, there's a memorial to the Shuttle Challenger astronauts as well.
Yes, to both the Challenger and the Columbia. Both of those events are remembered here at Arlington Cemetery with memorials, and actually we have some of the astronauts from those two disasters buried here as well.
Now, if you go to Washington, you're doing the sightseeing thing, you can go to Arlington. Tell us what you'll see when you go there.
Well, the first thing you're going to see, I think most folks, when they leave our visitor center and they walk out into Arlington, is just the hundreds of thousands of gravestones that are lined up perfect formation. It's awe-inspiring, just the enormity of it, and to realize that each and every one of those stones represents a past and a story to be told, for American freedom. I think in some ways is overwhelming, but overwhelming in a very good way. Visitors here usually, when they first experience that, it's kind of like most folks have when they walk into a church or a synagogue or a very special place for them. They almost become hushed, and even the crowds of children that are here.
Thanks so much for talking with us this morning. Arlington National Cemetery historian Tom Sherlock on this 147th birthday of Arlington National Cemetery.